Hello, good day. Welcome back to the Bodman Heights Academy. My name is Babatunde Olatunde David Olaniran, also known as Bodman. If you have not subscribed to my channel, kindly do so now. Just click on the subscribe button, and when I drop a new video, you'll be alerted. Some people have been requesting that I drop a video on list of names or list of researchers, whichever way you want to call it. And today I'll be dealing with that topic. See, if you want me to discuss any topic on Hyatt, drop in the comment section. Most of the time, I'm too busy to drop videos. But if I see that a lot of people are requesting for something, I will find time to drop them. And I know a lot of people want to join my class and they are unable to get into my class because I don't like adding people to my class once my class is full. It's relatively cheap or sometimes free. So a lot of people want to join my class. But once you can into my YouTube channel, you will get everything there. You will get everything. But if you still have questions, you can always chat me up or drop it in the comment section. Thank you. So today, I'll be discussing list of names. A list of names. Some people call it list of researchers, but I like to call it list of names. Some people can call it matching of names with information. I like to call it list of names because sometimes the names you will get will not be names of individuals. Before I go into that, let me show you what list of name questions looks like. So as you can see on your screen, that is how a list of name question look like. List of names, list of researchers, anyone you want to call it. You can call it matching of names with information, whichever way, whichever way. But I like to call it list of names because those names you are seeing, sometimes it may not be names of people. It may even be names of shops like Sainsbury, Tesco, Morrison, Aldi. They can list the names like that. So it's not really, it may not really be list of, as long as it's a name, then it falls under list of names. It may be names of trees. Some of us in Lagos, it may be names of markets, Oshodi, Idumota, Yaba. They can list it like that, A, B, C, D. So it's not, it doesn't mean that once I call it list of names, it has to be names of individuals. So question can take different forms. Questions can take different forms. Now, whenever you see this type of question, matching of name with the information, how will you approach it? How will you approach it? Today, I'll be using Cambridge 9 test 4. Cambridge 9 test 4. So if you go to Cambridge 9 test 4, reading passage 2, you will see a passage there. Young children's sense of identity. Young children's sense of identity. And if you look at question 20 to 23, they fall under list of names or list of researchers, anyone you want to call it. But once you see anything that looks like that, it is list of names. So I'll be using that passage. How will you approach it? How will you approach it? Like I always tell you, when you receive a question, just forget the passage. Just go straight to the question. Now we have this question. We know that in list of names, it is list of names. Whenever you have list of name question, mere looking at it, you know is a list of name. Or the instruction we also tell you, Match each findings with the correct researcher or researchers. The instruction will tell you, but I don't need to, for this question, I don't even need to read the instruction because I need to be very fast because I can see this is a list of name question. So the first thing is look before those information, those sentences, before them, is there any special instruction? Is there any special instruction? What do I mean by special instruction? Sometimes there may be some questions like this just before the statement, before the information. You say NB. You may use any letter more than once. NB, you may use any letter more than once. When you have that kind of instruction, you should know that you will get two answers that will be the same. You will get two answers that will be the same. That is, let us assume this question as NB now. That means one of these names said two of these statements. So we will get the same answer maybe for question 21 and 23. Because let's say the answer will be James. So we will get A for 21, A for 23 because James said those two statements when there is NB. But in this question, no NB, your answer can never be the same. You won't get two answers that will be the same. So know that when you don't have NB, your answer shouldn't be the same. Your answer shouldn't be the same. That is number one thing. Check for NB, the first thing. Now, there's one thing I want to tell you about list of names questions. Can you see the names, the order in which the name has been listed? James, Cooley, Lewis, Mead, and Bronson. The way these names have been listed is the order you will find them in the passage. That is, when you are looking for these names in the passage, you will see James first, before you see Cooley, before you see Lewis, before you see Mead and Bronson. So the way they listed them is the order you will find them in the passage. I don't know where you will find them, but I can assure you that the first name you will find will be James if you are skimming the passage. And then if you continue to skim, you will see Cooley, and so on and so forth. Get that straight. I hope this is very clear. That is that about that. Now, when you want to continue with the question, don't bother with the statement first. Don't bother with the statement. All you need to bother with is the name. Just pick the first name. Since you know that the way the name is arranged is the way you will find them. Pick the one you will find first, which is James. Pick James. Pick James. But before we go into that, you can see that we have 4 statements and we have 5 names. That is to tell you, I don't need to even tell you that. That means one of these names, we will not get it as an answer at all because we have only 4 statements and we have 5 names. A name can only go with a statement. So pick the first name, don't read the statement, and go to the passage. Skim the passage to find the first name. And if you skim this passage, the passage is Young Children's Sense of Identity, Cambridge 9, Test 4. Cambridge 9, Test 4. So if you continue to skim the passage, you will see James in paragraph 1. You don't even have to search far. So James is in paragraph 1, the paragraph A, and then in paragraph B, you can see James continues. Once you skim and you find the name you are looking for, keep an eye on the next name. The next name is Cooley, isn't it? The next name is Cooley. Keep an eye on it. You don't have anything to do with it for now. Once you find James, the next thing to do is read everything the passage said about James, or everything that the James said in the passage, just for James. Once you start reading and you get to where Cooley is talking, don't read anything about Cooley. Everything the passage said about James. Now, if you continue to read, and even if Cooley is not there, if you didn't see Cooley, and you see that the passage is not really related to James again, don't read again. You are only interested in everything the passage said about James. And if you start from where we see James in paragraph A, William James introduced distinction in 1892, and contemporary of E, such as Charles Cooley, added to the development debate. Ever since then, side, they just mentioned Cooley there, but they still continue to talk about James. Don't worry about that. You are interested in everything said about James. Ever since, ever since then, psychologists have continued building on the theory. Now, according to James, can you see? They now want to say what James really said. According to James, a child's first step on the road to self-understanding can be seen as recognition that he or she exists. You must take note of what James is saying. James can say like 3 or 4 things or 5 things. Take note of them. James said a child's first step on the road to self-understanding can be seen as recognition that he or she exists. That is the child's first step. That's what James is saying. This is an aspect of the self that he labeled self as a subject. He called it self as a subject, and he gave it various elements of self as a subject. This include an awareness of one's own agency, that is, one's power to act, and an awareness of one's distinctiveness from other people. These features gradually emerges as infants explore their world and interact with caregivers. This feature gradually emerges. So James basically is talking about self as a subject, that he said that is the first step on the road to self-understanding. That is a child first step. And he told us it had various elements, that the feature develops as infants explore their world and interact with caregivers. Cooley, 1902. Now, we know that we're supposed to stop because the passage want to start talking about Cooley. We are not interested in Cooley for now. We are interested in James. Now that you know what James has said in the passage, the next step, let us quickly move to the next step. The next step is you will now go to the statements. Read all the statements. Please don't jump any statement. Read all. And then see, as you read, ask yourself, is this thing related to what James has said in the passage, or what was said about James in the passage? So if we go back to the statement, we will read the statements one by one. A sense of identity can never be formed without relationship with other people. Did they say anything that said a sense of identity can never be formed without relationship? I don't think they said anything about that. The only thing they said about relationship with other people is these features gradually emerge as infants explore their world and interact with caregivers. Caregiver can be other people, but the passage did not tell us a sense of identity can never be formed without relationship with other people. I ruled that out. Next one. A child's awareness of self is related to a sense of mastery. A child's awareness of self is related to a sense of mastery over things and people. I don't think we read anything like that. Mastery over things and people. I don't think we read that. So if you are following me, you will see that there's nothing like that where we just read. The next one, at a certain age, children's sense of identity lead to aggressive behavior. Did we even read anything about aggressiveness or certain age? They didn't even mention any age in that place we read. So I ruled that out. Observing their own reflection contribute to children's self-awareness. Did we read anything about reflection? Children observing their own reflection? I don't think so. Can you see? This is, if you didn't find it, move to the next name. Also, if you are thinking that you are not finding an answer very fast, you move to the next name. The next name. Now, The next name is Cooley. Cooley. We have already seen Cooley before, so all you need to do is just go there and read what Cooley is saying. But keep your eye on the next name, which is Lewis Brookgun. Don't forget, you don't have to see the next name before you stop reading. As long as that thing is not talking about the names you are reading about again, stop. You don't have anything to do with it again. Now, let's see what Cooley has said. Let's see what Cooley has said. Cooley, in paragraph B, Cooley, 1902, suggested that a sense of self as a subject was primarily concerned with being able to exercise power. Cooley is saying that a sense of self as a subject primarily concerned with being able to exercise power. That is what Cooley is saying, is suggesting. Self as a subject is concerned with being able to exercise power. He proposed that the earliest examples of these are an infant's attempt to control physical objects. The earliest example is an infant attempt to control physical objects, such as toys or his or her own limbs. This is followed by attempt to affect the behavior of other people. For example, infants learn that when they cry or smile, someone responds to them. So that is what Cooley is saying. If you read further, another powerful source of information for infants about the value they can have on the world, and that is provided when others mimic them. Many parents, I don't think that is talking about Cooley again. Once you see that this thing, you don't have to stop when the paragraph ends. You can enter the next paragraph if it's still talking about Cooley. But if you read further, you discover that that place is not talking about Cooley again, because from the beginning of that paragraph, he said another powerful source of information. That means no longer Cooley. Now, what Cooley has said, suggested, is that a sense of self as a subject was primarily concerned with the child being able to exercise power. He proposed that the earliest example are infant attempt to control physical objects, such as toy and his or her own limbs. And this is followed by attempt to affect the behavior of other people. You want to control the other people. You now give an example. When a child cries, he's trying to control other people to attend to him or her. That is what the child is trying to do. So Cooley is basically trying to explain the characteristics of self as a subject, exercising power over things or over people. Now, let's read the statement. You will now go back to the statement. You see, just the same steps. Go back to this. Always read all the statements. Now, let us look at it. A sense of identity can never be formed without relationship with other people. Did Cooley say that? You self look into it. Did he say that? I don't think so. I don't think he mentioned something like that. A child awareness of self is related to a sense of mastery over things and people. A child awareness of self is related to a sense of mastery over things and people. Did we read anything like that? I think so. Because Cooley was trying to say being able to exercise power. And you talk about a child trying to affect the behavior of other people, to control toys, or his or her own limbs. So I think that should be the answer. But let us continue to read. At a certain age, children's sense of identity lead to aggressive behavior. We didn't even read anything about aggressive behavior or something, so I would never think about that at all. Observing their own reflection contribute to children's self-awareness. Observing their own reflection contribute to children's self-awareness. I don't think He talked about reflection or observing their own reflection or something like that. Now, if you look at it, what is related to what Cooley said is number 21. So because Cooley is B, the alphabet in front of Cooley is B, so the answer to 21 will be B. Sense of mastery over things and people. B will be the answer. That is the first answer we have gotten, isn't it? Now, you will now move to the next name. Lewis and Brooks gone. So you will skim from where you pick the answer to, from where you stop reading about Cooley. That is when you now skim to look for that name, Lewis and Brooks gone. Now, so if you skim, let us skim. If you skim the passage to look for Lewis and Brooks gone, you will discover that Lewis and Brooks gone is in paragraph C. Is in paragraph C. I can see it in paragraph C. So if you read about Lewis and Brooks gone, Lewis and Brooks gone, 1979, suggests that infant developing understanding that the movement they see in the mirror are contingent on their own. So they are talking about Lewis and guns now. I like to read from where I will understand the statement better. So if you move back a bit, you will discover they say, in addition, young children enjoy looking in mirrors, where the movement they can see are dependent upon their own movements. This is not to say that infants recognize the reflection as their own image, a later development. So it's a later, they will recognize it later. But it's not that they look at the mirror, not because they can recognize their own image. They will still be able to do that later. However, Lewis and Bruce Gunn suggest that infant developing understanding that the movement they see in the mirror are contingent on their own image lead to a growing awareness that they are distinct from other people. This is because they and only they can change the reflection in the mirror. So what Brooks and what Lewis and Bruce Gunn are talking about is basically reflection. The child being able to recognize, to look into the mirror, and is a part of development. So if you continue to read, you understand that children gain of themselves as active agents, continue to develop in their attempt to cooperate with others in play. Soon, they've started talking about another person. They've started talking, so I have to stop. That is all about Lewis and Bruce Gunn. Now let's go back to the statement. So if you read the statement, a sense of identity can never be formed without relationship with other people. Did he say that? Lewis and Brooks Gunn did not say anything like a relationship with other people, just talking about mirror and reflection. A child awareness of self is related to a sense of mastery over things and people. No, he didn't say anything like that. But I told you, always read all the statement, because I'm reading the one I've even picked an answer for, because if I have picked a wrong answer, I can correct it. At a certain age, children's sense of identity leads to aggressive behavior. Did they say anything like that? No. He didn't mention anything about aggressive behavior. Observing their own reflection contribute to children's self-awareness. Of course, he talked about reflection throughout and how it contributes to development. So automatically, 23 will be C. 23 will be C. C. Now, let us look at the next thing before we go. Let us look at meat. Meat. Of course, we still follow the same step. Meat. Meat, if I continue to skim the passage, I can't see mid in paragraph D. So if you move to paragraph E, let us look at it. Mid. Where is mid? I can see mid in paragraph F. I can see mid in paragraph F. So if you read about me, because so we are looking at self. Okay, mid 1934 went even further and saw the self and the social world as inextricably bound together. Mid. So mid is in paragraph F. So they are saying mid 1934 went even further and saw the self and the social world, self and social world as inextricably bound together. The self is essentially a social structure and it arises in social experience. It is impossible to conceive of a self. It is impossible to conceive of a self arising outside a social experience. So he's saying self and social world, they are bound together. It is impossible to conceive a self. It is possible to develop as a self without outside the social experience. That you know what social experience means? Interacting with others, interacting with others. So the self is essentially a social structure and it arises in social experience. That is what mid is saying. If you read further, there's nothing. I don't see mid after that again. So if you go back, are we going to find anything related to what mid is saying? Let's read. A sense of identity can never be formed without relationship with others. Social experience, relationship with others. I had this with synonyms, social experience, relationship with others. So I will note that down. That may be our answer, but we'll continue to read. A child awareness of self is related to sense of mastery over things and other. He didn't mention anything like that. At certain age, children's sense of identity leads to aggressive behavior. No, he didn't say anything like that. Observing their own reflection contribute to children's self-awareness. Nothing like that. Now let's go back to 20. A sense of identity can never be formed without relationship with others. So a sense of identity can never be formed. So if you go back to what Mead has said, he said it is impossible. When something is impossible, it is impossible to conceive of a self. That means he's saying it is impossible to develop a self outside a social experience. So it is basically saying the same thing as a sense of identity can never be formed without relationship with other people. Can you see? So the answer to 20 will be D. So if you look at it, you can solve the last one by yourself. If you go through it, if you follow the step, if you see similar question, follow this step and you will see that you get it. If you pick a wrong answer before, it is important for you to always go through all the statements so that you can correct yourself. And please, when you are solving a question, be calm. Follow the step. Follow the step-by-step process. I will also drop lectures on other topics. If you have questions on this topic, drop your question in the comment section. Let us know how you feel. Like the video, subscribe to my channel, and then when I drop another video, you'll be notified. You'll be notified. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope that you enjoy this session. Thank you.